We're not starting again, but we're at the beginning. We're not missing very much. Our topic
Okay.
Our topic today is about getting creative, finding new ideas and solutions to problems, exploring some new ways of thinking. And this is a really good opportunity for experiment. When things change around us, when the situation changes, when the context changes, the ground is really ripe for creativity, thinking about things differently, introducing new services, new ways of doing things. And I'm getting the sense that people are a little more receptive to that right now. We're seeing a lot of people embracing doing things online where they were hesitant before, now they're jumping in. So it's a good time for creativity.
Very good time.
So before we dive into this topic of creativity, let's start here.
Yes, you want to get actually really clear, and we've talked about this, I think, all week with, kind of also what is it that you're actually doing? What, really grounded in what you offer, how you help people, so that you don't go super crazy, but because often when we get like the sign says, right, confused, unsure, perplexed, disoriented, all of those things, we can kind of go off on these tangents where the panic sets in and we kind of go just way off in left field, and that doesn't help us a lot in our business either. So it's really getting clear, knowing what you're selling and who you can help and what those problems are, because it's going to help you with your brainstorming, or else you're going to be a coach who's now selling fishing lures or something.
It is such a good point. And sometimes it's helpful to think of the longer term timeline. This too shall pass. We don't know for sure what it's going to look like when we come out the other side of this, but I'm thinking it's going to look somewhat similar to where we were before it. There may be some changes that stick. No doubt there will be, but I think overall, my bet is that we're going to be back to meeting in person, back to doing things the way we used to, in a lot of ways. So when you think about your business over the long term, it's probably not a great idea to completely reinvent it from the ground up, unless this is about you. I didn't put the permission slip in. It's your business, it's your decision. And for some people, it might be that time where they go, hang on a second, I'm not really jazzed about what I've been doing. I think I want to do something completely different. And if that's you, you have the permission slip to, of course, consider that. It's your business, your life, your decisions. However, don't make them based on this feeling of panic and fear. Get a little bit more grounded in who you are and what you want to do. So starting from that, so just want to keep this in mind as we go through this little, some creative prompts here. So beginning with this question, this was a question that I heard over and over and over again in the coaching program that I took, is a way of tapping into your resourcefulness is, instead of asking, how do I do this? Or what's the right way to do this? Exploring, what are the many ways of doing this? It sets your brain, kind of plants that idea that there's more than one solution. I often make fun of my husband that his favorite saying is, there's only one way. It's just like he gets locked into, there's one way of doing things, and he doesn't see options. It's like he's just, that's how he's built. And I think a lot of people are built that way. They see one way, or they expect the right way. A lot of our clients get frustrated that there's no one right way, but there is not one right way. When it comes to sales and marketing and business, there are many ways, and there is no one right way. Lots of different ways work, and a great place to expand your creativity and expand your options and get unstuck is to look at, okay, what are the many ways? And to give you kind of a concrete example, When we think about coaching or counseling, this kind of one-to-one thing, often there's this default idea of what that looks like. It's something that happens with a coach and a client, like it's a one-to-one relationship. It's this session is probably an hour, or maybe it's a 50-minute hour weekly. This is kind of what it looks like. We have a coaching session on a regular basis for about an hour every week. This is how coaching looks. Now, when you want to open up to the many ways, you start pulling that apart. It's like, okay, what are some other ways that we could do this? What are some other ways to explore it? So that might be, okay, does it have to be in person? This is a big question for people who've done their work in person. Does it have to be in person? Or could we do it over Zoom? What would coaching over email look like? What would coaching over social media look like? What would coaching using text look like? Like, what are the many modes of communication that you could use in order to have a coaching session with somebody? You could look at the length of the time you spend with people. Yeah, maybe it could be an hour. Maybe it's 3 hours. Maybe it's a day. Maybe it's a weekend. Maybe it's a week-long virtual retreat of some sort. Maybe it's 15 minutes. What are the options? Maybe it's totally flexible depending on what the client needs. Maybe it's on demand. Lots of different options. Maybe it's you and one client. Maybe it's self-study where you get the client to coach themselves and then you debrief on a call or something like that. Could be triads are awesome. Get 3 people in a session. It's not quite a group, but more than just one-on-one, or maybe it is a group. You could look at a change of location. Does it have to take place in an office? Probably not a good idea right now. So you can do that at home via Zoom. Maybe it's on the beach. I had a client a few years ago who took her clients on a walk through the woods. It was like getting out of the environment. She enjoyed walking, so there was a walk and talk coaching session. You can do that, and then you can mix and match things. It's I'm going for a walk this afternoon with a friend. She's in North Vancouver, I'm in Prince Rupert. And we're going to walk together while chatting on the phone. So there's lots of different ways to deliver your service. So if that's a place where you're feeling a little stuck right now, that, oh, I used to do these things in person, there can be some exploration around how and what that looks like. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a great opportunity to see where you might be really dug in with things too, of how things have to be. You know, it has to be done like this. It has to be done in this order. It has to be done in this much time. You know, this can be a really great time to kind of examine some of those no have to kind of things and get fun and creative with, well, what else is possible? And sometimes it helps to just go to the totally, extreme of something. No, it has to be done, in front of my computer. I have to look a certain way. We have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, what if I showed up in my pajamas at the beach on a Facebook video call and we did everything backwards? Like, who knows? And that just kind of starts the creativity flowing a bit. So not to get so stuck in your box.
Just thinking about this too, sometimes we have beliefs that the way we're doing it is the best way, or the only, like, it's not often not the only way, but it's the best way. I got really dug in on this when I started my business. I really believe that working in groups, small groups, mastermind kind of groups, was the best way to help people. And then I got locked into that. Like, that's the only way. And I lost a lot of opportunities because I wasn't willing to work with people one-on-one. Instead, I was trying to convince them that it was better to work in a group. I look back on that and I go, but we do. It's very easy to get locked in that the way we're doing it is the right way, the best way, the only way that works, or the optimum way. And sometimes if we let go of that, in fact, I would even challenge you, if that's how you're feeling, to even ask a question like, okay, so it's best to do this in person. It's best to bring people together in a room. That's the best way to create this transformation, or this opportunity for transformation with people. How can I do this online and do it better than I could do it in person? What are the benefits of doing it online? This is the marketing piece of it. It's like, what are the benefits of doing online it online. You know, what would make it awesome to do coaching by text? And you start thinking about that. Okay, well, what would that be? Well, it would be really convenient. It would be really private. There'd be a little bit of chance to think in between responses. It'd be a quick way to get help. So you start to look at, okay, you know, what's the upside for these various different options? So that's one way to look at it, is, you know, your service and how you deliver it. There can be many, 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 many options. And once you get going, you may find that you get a lot.
Exactly.
Kind of related to what we talked about in the beginning with the get grounded in what you're doing and what you offer. You know, you don't really want to be in the fishing lure business if you're a coach. Although coaching people through a problem by doing fishing, like creating fly fishing lures or something together, might be a creative way to have a session, keep people's hands busy. Maybe their mind lets go of stuff in a different way, or they see things differently. But when you're thinking about being creative in your business and about what you offer, invite you to think about the situation from your client's perspective. What are the many ways that you could help them solve the problem that they're experiencing? What are the many ways that you could help them get the thing that they want? So it's less so about you and about what you do, and it's more about, okay, what's going to benefit the client? This is something that Georgie and I do all the time. We have, because we, well, here's a way of doing coaching differently. It's like, we do 2 coaches, 1 person, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've turned group coaching upside down. They get a group of coaches when they work with it. But one of the things that we do is we talk about what's going on with our clients, and we're like, okay, how can we help this particular client with this particular problem that they've that keeps coming up, or where do people normally get stuck? And recently, one of the things we discovered in our own program is that even though we were teaching people step by step how to have a sales conversation with a potential client, they were getting stuck. So we decided that we would role play the conversation with people to find out where. And now it's just, this is part of how we do it, because we realize that this is just a really customized kind of approach. And where we thought we were communicating really clearly, we weren't so much. But we looked at, okay, where are people getting stuck? And we're like, oh, okay, well, let's try this and see what that does. And it makes a huge difference, because we can see exactly what they're doing. We could go, oh, right here, you need to shift this up a bit. You need to do this part here. You forgot this part, and this will flow better. Let's try that again. So it gives people a chance to practice and to get individual feedback. But that's a creative idea based on, how do we serve our clients even better? How do we help them even more? It's something that I've added into my work with clients, is to provide editing on their on the copy that they're writing, give feedback on the messaging, rather than, you know, just go and do this. It's like, okay, let's do this together. Let's collaborate on this. So you start to draw in, like, what are the other strengths that you could bring into this? You know, and a lot of I know a lot of wellness practitioners do this. They have multiple modalities that they help their clients with, and they're often advised in terms of marketing that they should only promote one, otherwise it's confusing. And I'm like, no, bring everything you have to bear against that problem. If you've got multiple pieces of expertise, multiple techniques, multiple modalities, bring it all in, and use that in service of the problem that your clients are experiencing. So you're really focused on what your clients want, what your clients need, what your clients are asking for, and, you know, co-creating stuff with your clients.
Yeah, I love that, the co-creating pieces. And I think often we'll go, especially if we get so stuck into thinking that our way is the right way and that what we're doing, no, we're clearly communicating properly. They're just not getting it. However, if they're not getting the results you know they could be getting, and they're following the steps, it's nice to step back and go, oh, well, what else could we do to help them? I wonder where the breakdown's happening, which is kind of how our role plays came to be. We're like, we know what should be happening after, so many conversations and that kind of thing. And if it's not happening, then we're like, wait, we need to hear this. Let's role play this. Oh, this totally makes sense. So then we can help our clients faster so they get their results quicker. And it's a total collaborative process, because when someone's in it, they can then share, oh, this doesn't feel good. I don't know what to say here. I thought I had this part, and so it's that collaboration with your clients to see, again, it's the conversation, right? Where are you getting stuck? What's not really clear? How can we actually help you? And then it gets fun. The brainstorming stuff is really fun.
Fun for some people.
Yeah.
It's fun for us.
Fun for us.
So just building on that idea of co-creating, sometimes the easiest place to be creative is to be flexible and to adapt to what your client is looking for. And this is part of what we teach our clients too, is listening to what they want, what they're asking for, engaging them in the solution that would work for them. Like, you can ask your clients, what would be most helpful here for you? How can I support you the best? What would work for you? And creating, putting aside rigid programs, things that you're like, okay, it's 12 sessions and they're each an hour and we're going to do this specific curriculum, that kind of thing, might be exactly the right solution for some clients, but might not fit for others. So just kind of putting that stuff up on a shelf, or just putting it aside, treating what you do is, a toolkit, some resources, things that you can bring into your work with clients, but being present for them right now and going, okay, what is it that you're looking for? And really hearing what they're asking for and going, okay, I can help you with that. Let's do this. And co-creating a solution. This is this idea of, for some people, with the money concerns and maybe don't have as much money to invest, they still want some help, and this idea of negotiating, it's like, okay, how can we work together to figure out a solution that's going to work for both of us? And being creative in the moment with that specific client. So being flexible and open-ended, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to have this meeting with a client, or a potential client, I'm going to see what they're looking for, and then I'm going to see what I can offer them, and we're going to come to a solution that works for both of us in terms of working together. That can be often the easiest, simplest, and most effective way to be creative in what you're doing.
Exactly. Then you don't end up all twisted in knots like that lady.
Exactly. We'll talk about getting complicated in a moment here too. Yeah. For those of us who love creativity, sometimes a problem. This is one of the things we talk about a lot, and I think this is maybe the first time we're actually breaking this down into what we mean by it, but experimenting.
Yeah.
When you're coming up with creative ideas, taking an approach of experimenting and holding on to things loosely is a great way to approach this. We see too much of this falling in love with our own ideas and putting a ton of time and effort and often money into something before figuring out whether or not it's going to be accepted by the marketplace, whether or not people are going to want it. And we see this a lot with people who've invested months and months, sometimes years, a lot of money developing programs or courses based on their imagination and what they want to teach based on their work rather than what the clients want or need. And the sad fact is, for a lot of us who have a high level of expertise, we're really excited about what we do, and our clients really don't care about the mechanics. They just want to know enough to solve their problem. So taking this attitude of experimentation and putting stuff out there sooner rather than later is way more effective. So what you want to do, when you have an idea and you're like, yeah, I really like this idea, you might come up with 20 ideas, you pick the best one. This is the one I'm most excited about. You try it. You put it out there. Do a little bit of marketing. Find out if people want to buy it. Often get this advice, and I think it's really good advice, is to sell it before you create it. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing. If I did this thing, would you be interested in it? Contacting a few people that you believe would get a lot of benefit from it, and having a conversation with them to see if they would be interested. If I did this kind of thing, would you sign up for it? If it's, make a few sales before investing a lot of time. You don't have, like, for example, if you wanted to develop a course, try doing that course with one person interactively before creating an actual course. Get paid to develop the course. They get one-to-one support. You develop the course as you work with that one person, and then you have that opportunity to find out what people actually need. But try it, see how it goes, and evaluate the results that you get. Put it out there. Oh, wow, I talked to 20 people about this and only one person is kind of interested. Maybe I'm not approaching this the right way. Maybe I need to describe it differently. Maybe I have to change it up a little bit. So you take a look at those results. Is it working? Do more of what works. Is it not working? Fix it. Tweak it. Tweak it and adjust it. Turn it into a slightly new idea and put it out there again. It's just, you go around and around in this circle. You put something out there, you try it, you see how it goes. Look at the results, make some adjustments, try it again. And eventually you get to this place where you hit on something and it's like, wow, this is amazing. People love it. People are buying it. And then you can hold with it, or you can continue to make it just a little bit better as you go along. But you'll save yourself a lot of time, energy, and money by experimenting as soon as possible with ideas, rather than getting really married to them before testing it on real people. And I know that this is really, really unpopular advice.
And
people hate to hear this.
If it doesn't work, ditch it. Like, don't stay with something longer than is, than it's useful for you, because often I see that happens too. We get so used to, well, it's kind of working, so I'm pretty attached to it, and we don't want to let it go. Or then if we do let it go, then we feel, oh, I'm such a failure, I don't know how to do this. It's just an idea that didn't work in the current market with what you're doing. So it's part of the experimentation too, when you're evaluating and tweaking and adjusting. Sometimes ideas just don't work, and that's okay. And you shift and you move. I mean, if I look at the last year with what we've done with our program, it has shifted so many times, and always for the better, and there are some times where we're like, oh, we're going to do this whole group kind of thing. That's not working, ditch. And pivot in a way that works for what you promised people. But when you're in that experimentation phase, I think it's really important to not be really personally attached to your idea, or, because sometimes they just don't work for whatever reason. And we can hold on to things because we're personally attached to it.
Especially if we're seeing it as, this is the one way, this is the right way, this is the only way. And and ideas cannot work on a number of levels. It might not work in terms of the marketing. And maybe it's only the marketing that needs to change in order to sell the thing. It might not work for the clients, and you might be able to sell something, but the clients don't get the results. And then you're like, okay, if you care about your clients and you want to give value, then you need to tweak and adjust there. And sometimes it doesn't work for you. Sometimes you put something out there, clients love it, it sells, and then you go, oh crap, I don't want to do this. I mean, that's the other place that you can let go of too. And it's like, one of the beautiful things about having your own business, being self-employed, is you have the power to change that. Go, okay, this isn't working for me. And there's another permission slip I'll hand out. If something is working, in the marketplace and for clients and not working for you, take a look at how you can adjust that. How can you make that fit better with you and who you are? And this might be a time to try something new. Maybe not to throw out something that's working, but to try something new to see if you like it better. See if you can get the same acceptance with a new idea. But this kind of approaching this with this, I would just say approaching business in general, actually life in general, this attitude of experimentation is helpful. So a couple things just to wrap this up. If you happen to be identify as a super creative person, if you have more ideas than you could ever possibly execute, Georgie and I both fall into this category, and when we get together it's even worse because we can more and more and more, and we have this tendency to take a simple idea and complexify it. And we add more things, and we look into the future, we get excited, we make it big. Oh, we can do this, and we can do this, and we can do this other thing. Oh, we can do this, and then we'll do this, and we'll do this, and it'll be that. And we end up with these great big like spaghetti piles of amazing stuff, this huge vision that we have in our heads. And we've worked with clients who are like this as well. They've always got a new idea, or they want to add on to an idea. Keep it simple. If you've heard of like lean methodology, it's like minimum viable product. It's like, okay, what is the smallest unit of this idea that you can start with? So this is the idea. If you have an idea, I'm going to do a course. It's going to be 26 modules. It's going to cover all of this stuff. It's going to have a group coaching program with it. It's going to have a community. We're going to have this download stuff in the mastermind group and all of this. The minimum viable idea there might be working one-on-one with somebody on the first module. Like scale it really down. What is the minimum thing that you can do to test that idea without going and creating a new website, hiring someone to do graphic design, paying for some kind of fancy e-learning software or something like that, right? What's the smallest unit of this that you can actually do? Or what's a small change that you can make without completely introducing something new? So if that's you, if you've got more ideas than you know what to do with, simplify, avoid the complexifying of it. And on the other side, if you're the kind of person that's like there's only one way, and you're having trouble seeing multiple ideas, and you're listening to us and going, oh, I never thought of that, never thought of that, never thought of that. It could be really, really helpful for you to find a brainstorming partner or a couple of people to talk this through. Somebody that has a lot of ideas might be able to help you out. Sometimes just having perspective. You may find it easier to come up with ideas for other people than for yourself. So sometimes engaging a partner or a couple of people into a brainstorming group or activity can be really helpful for surfacing new ideas. If you're going to do this, don't shut down ideas. Biggest mistake people make with brainstorming is they tried that, didn't work, don't want to do that. It's just let the ideas flow, because sometimes from the silliest idea, the one that you reject, another idea will spring from it. So if you want to engage a partner, to kind of make a rule that you're not going to reject anything. You're going to write down all of the ideas.
Exactly. I think it's getting in that space where kind of setting the frame for a brainstorming session, that there is no bad idea. We're just going to take everything, because that also helps the ideas keep flowing. Because as soon as someone says, well, that's dumb, that's not going to work, everybody starts to shut down. So I think it's nice to just know that some stuff's going, some stuff's staying, but it's just a really crazy idea party.
I would even say, if you're going to do this brainstorming by yourself, to have the creative idea party on your own. Don't shut down your own ideas.
Yeah, good point.
Like it's kind of like writing and editing at the same time. It's like put the editor aside, put the decision maker analytical part aside, and just like, okay, creative ideas. I'm just going to write down everything that pops into my head, no matter how ridiculous it is. And it might even help to start with ridiculous.
Exactly. Because it's the combination of, ridiculous and serious. It's like, oh, that's actually perfect. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, you might start off with, like, oh, okay, I'm going to offer my coaching on the International Space Station. It's like, what is that?
Yes.
Well, might wind up with, oh, I take my clients to the planetarium. you know, or we draw stars on the wall, or I look at my program as like the planets in the solar system, and I name my stuff after the planets or something like that. It's the crazy ideas can often lead to just really brilliant breakthroughs.
Exactly. Exactly. We actually have some questions, which is kind of cool.
Excellent. So I am I'm going to find, oh, there it is. The Zoom menu's just moving all over the place. So yeah, do we have questions? Do we have?
Do, because
yes.
we wanted to let you guys know too, because we wanted to give a little extra time here. If you are really stuck and you really are looking for some ideas, we do have some time here to sort of throw some stuff at you, if you would like. So let's go to the chat box first. So even though it's easy for me to brainstorm new ideas, I still find it even better brainstorming with others. Totally.
It's fun.
It's super fun. Oh, here's one for you. I have a course that works, but the title is boring.
Okay.
I have thoughts, but I'm gonna let you go on it.
All right. Okay, we'll start here. Often the best titles are boring, and I say that as a creative person, and my clients often hate hearing this from me, but the reality is that clear beats clever. You know, how to do the thing that your clients want to do is a great name for a course. It might not be exciting, but often the clever names that we think are catchy and cutesy, the ones that will get an applause when you mention them at a networking event, or your friends will gush, oh, that's so clever, it's so creative, are often the ones that are hard to sell because potential clients don't get it. So what's really exciting for your clients is to solve the problem they have or get the result that they're looking for. So if you use those things in the title, that's super helpful. Like let's say you're selling a course on developing a website in WordPress. A great name for that course: how to develop your own website.
Here's the name.
Boring.
The course is called Effective Communication, Deeper Connection, and People rarely. Sorry, I think it's effective communication, deeper connection, and people rarely say, you know, oh, I need that, but they have amazing results.
Right. So what do they need? What are they asking for? And what do those results look like? So you know, and it might be something like deeper connection. I think it's not really even I wouldn't even say it's jargony, but it's maybe the way you would phrase it. Like, how would somebody talk about what they want if they're having a glass of wine with a friend? So, you know, are they going to say, I'm looking for a deeper connection, or are they going to say something like, I'd really like to get closer to my spouse? How to get closer to the people in your life, or something like that.
Yeah.
But how would they describe it? And it might even be from a problem perspective. How do I get people to listen to me? How do I get people to
do what I say?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes it's a very negative kind of a place. But if you think about the things that your clients ask for and talk about and request, and you go, okay, this course material will help them get that. That is often a great place to start looking for titles and marketing materials.
Wasn't like that. Is it a book or a course that how to talk so people will listen?
Yeah.
Right? It's not that exciting, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the other piece of it too is often, you know, the title might get someone's attention, but the title won't sell the course. Like, there's so many other pieces that go into it, you know, like what's the words on the page where you're selling the course, what's happening in the conversation, how many people are you actually talking to, so that you can then, you know, explain what you're doing and see if what you have will solve their problems. I think so often, especially in this day and age, we think we can come up with the title, slap it up on the internet, and people will buy it. And while that would be lovely, it doesn't really happen that way.
Yeah. That is an excellent point. We often expect certain elements of our marketing to do too much heavy lifting. Titles is one, so are networking introductions, answering the what do you do question. We expect that to sell the service, have us set apart from the competition, you know, for people to understand every nuance of what we do based on, you know, 15-second answer or 30-second answer. So yeah.
Yeah, it's one of, and that's why we often, you know, are real, you know, we really are like champions for working with people one-on-one, especially when you are trying to figure out what you need to do for your course, what that's going to look like. You know, it's like, oh, because you get so much information from working with a handful of people one-on-one, because you really get clear about what their problems are, how they're saying it, you know, like, and that's why which we're going to talk about this. I think someone actually asked us to talk about this broad niche kind of thing, you know, because maybe it's that you are just, you know, you fix communication problems. I fix communication problems. Got any of those? I can help you. And then you can start to dig in and see what shows up and start to get some of that research information that you need for the title of your course or the modules that go in it, or how you're going to sell it, how you're going to market it, those kinds of things. And often we look at things as a silo, right? Like, oh, I just need this piece and this piece and this piece. And we forget to look at the complete system or the whole picture of different things. And it's easy to do. We all absolutely do it. So, oh, here's a good one. So based on what you're saying, my course should be Find Your Why. And that course name is already used. Does that matter? The current title is Ultimate Why Formula. And that's not what people are saying they want.
Right.
And I'm going to say one thing about that. As someone who has taught the why course, helped people find their why for 8 years, because I'm not a marketing expert, no one ever said to me, hey, Georgie, I'd like to find my why. And if I had been paying attention, I would have been listening to the things when people come to me and they say, hey, Georgie, I'm kind of not feeling as happy as I think I could be at work. Hey, Georgie, my life's not, I feel like there's kind of something missing in my life and I don't know what it is. And someone said you might be able to help me, you know, and then because people, hey, you do that why thing. I don't really know what that why thing is, but I'm struggling with trying to be happy at work, you know, and I wasn't paying attention to those things. So fortunately, you know, I talk to a lot of people. So I got a little bit of a grace period on that. But if I had been relying on just that and just my marketing material, I probably wouldn't have sold anything. Like, honestly, my sales came from talking to people or having people take my course and then refer them to people. But I totally bombed the crap out of my titles and my marketing at that time. Terrible. And it wasn't actually till Patty took the course. And then Patty was like, hey, can I help you? That everything got rewritten. And that was like, you know, 7 years later or something.
Yeah, this goes right back to, like, if there's only ever one rule of marketing that you take in, you know, this one thing will change everything, is that it's all about the clients and it's never about you. And like, it's always, the marketing is based on what are clients asking for, what do they want, what is their problem, what is their solution. It is very, very rarely exactly the thing that you do. I could talk about this all day, but we had a conversation yesterday, and we'll be sharing the video with a fellow named Kevin Knevel, and he sells helping people develop know, like, and trust. He's a little bit woo-woo. He's a little bit spiritual, maybe a lot spiritual, philosophical. That's what he brings to his clients. That's what he helps them with, helps them make better connections, helps them communicate better. But what he sells is LinkedIn training and more sales. And this is, what do people want? They want more sales. They want to learn how to use LinkedIn. That's what they were asking him for. So that's what he sells. But what does he really sell? He really sells the the solution to their problem. They don't need to know how to push buttons. They need to know how to connect people. But if he said how to connect with people and be all woo-woo spiritual and philosophical, he would not be the success that he is. The messaging is very much about what do clients want. And it is your job when you're selling it, when you're marketing it, to build that bridge between what they want and what you do.
And it's not easy. It truly is a skill, and it takes so much practice to start to shift your thinking and start to see things that way. It really, really does. Like you honestly have to be conscious of, okay, I'm going to remind myself that I'm going to listen to what they're saying. I'm going to take notes of problems. I'm going to really, really put my attention on that. It's not a natural skill unless you're Patty, but she has a superpower in this area. And since we've been working together over the last year and a bit, like I see myself start to think this way. So now I'm listening to people, and I'll call and I'm like, hey, here's what I heard them say in this conversation. But it was not a natural thing for me to listen that way. But you can do it, and you can learn it. And it does take time, for sure. I like what we've got here on the chat. Yeah, that's not what people are saying they want. This goes back to, I don't need to offer a course. If they want a solution to X, I offer a solution to X. There actually does not need to be a title in the content of the work that I do.
Bingo.
Exactly. Especially when you're just building and getting things going, that kind of stuff. You'll find those titles as you work with people.
Yeah. And the answers almost always are to make it more simple, not more complicated. If you're adding layers and complexity, you're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. And it's usually boring things that come out of it anyway. And even if we look at Find Your Why works because Simon got lucky with the TED Talk. The TED Talk went viral, so we automatically just associate that because of what happened with that talk. But even when Simon was first starting, people were like, what? And what happened was he was in living rooms. Friends were saying, hey, that thing you did for me, could you do it for my other friend? Could you do it for my other friend? And he would just, like I say, he got a really lucky break that talk went viral. Or, his title might not have worked so well either. And we never know when things like that can happen, right? And I think he's actually another great example of just sharing value. He wasn't doing the TED Talk for it to go viral. He wasn't even sharing the why discovery with people as a way to build a business. It was just something he found for himself. He was really passionate about it, and he wanted to help people. He still had his marketing agency going at the time when he was going around in living rooms, and so we often look at it like it was this overnight thing, but it wasn't. For him it was living room, person to person, one-on-one. This is how I did it. And then from there, they built the online course and, those kinds of things. And even if you look at him, yes, they've had the online course. They only started doing live why discovery workshops for the public 2 years ago. They did their first ones. And that's been, years. Yeah. So, it's experimentation.
And you poke around under the covers for anybody that's legitimately successful, not pretending to be successful, but legitimately successful, and you'll see that these overnight successes were anything but. They put in their time, and they learned what people want. And that time frame, that slow growth time frame is important. It's not something you can shortcut. It's not something you can skip, even though people will tell you you can. The reality is that you can't. It's natural cycles.
Exactly.
So I'm noticing the time, and I see we have a lot of questions or a lot of comments. I don't know. I'm not looking at what they are. I just see the numbers.
Okay, here we have, that's so reassuring to hear that these famous people are not really overnight successes. Yeah.
Okay. They look like it because we never heard of them, and all of a sudden they're there. And then we go, oh, wow, look, they've been around for 20 years, but we didn't know about them till right now.
Exactly. Okay, I think I've gone through the questions actually in the Q&A box.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, of course, or a course name, Fix Your Communication Problems. It sounds super boring, right? But
Yeah.
you don't want
Yeah.
people to have to think about, oh, wait, what does that mean? Because as soon as I have to go to, hang on, let me go in and try to make sense of that, I'm in kind of a state of confusion, and you've lost me. If it makes
Yeah.
sense to me right away, and I don't have to kind of go into my brain to figure out what that means, I'm going to be much more on board way quicker.
Yeah. Don't make people think.
We've got leads or Facebook. I'm so grateful to you both. My business is succeeding because of your help. Awesome. We love to hear that, because that's why we're here. You're the best at finding people's why. Thank you. It's trial and error. It's been years of struggle with that, but yeah, I am good at that. You're right. I'll own that. This is great stuff that you're teaching. Awesome. Good. We want to be, valuable to you guys. So if there's anything we can help you with, answer questions, ask away. If you're stuck looking for a creative solution right now, not sure maybe what direction to go, those kinds of things, we're happy to throw our 2 cents in.
And this might be an opportune time to say this. We've had fun with this, so we've decided to do it again next week.
Yep.
And we've got some specific questions that people have asked that we're going to take a look at. One of them being this idea of the requirement of a niche, or I hate the war kind of stuff like the target market or whatever, about how that's not necessary for a lot of people, and more of an impediment than something that's truly helpful. So we'll have some insight on that for sure. We're still being creative and brainstorming what the topics are going to be next week, but we will cover that one for sure, because we've had a couple of people ask about that. The other one I want to cover for sure is this idea of how to create some good messaging. How do you explain this thing that you do? How does that messaging work? And kind of a big picture of how business works, the various levels and stages that businesses go through. I think that's a piece that's missing for a lot of people, is kind of getting their sense of where they're at in time and space. And what we're seeing is a lot of people that are investing in help at a level that's too far above where they're at right now, and they're getting great advice, but it's not really relevant to where they are now, and that creates confusion more so than help. So we're going to talk about that next week.
We have another question.
All right.
How do I get people to sign up for a market research interview? Post a single question, which often only a few people see and people don't respond. Ask them to do a short interview with me.
Okay, I have an opinion here. I'm not a big fan of market research interviews. I think they're in the way that they're done. To me, valid market research is whether or not somebody actually buys something versus having a conversation with somebody to find out what they want without actually selling them something. And this springs from an experience I had in 1997 when I took a how to build your business workshop through the government, actually. And they made us do market research, but we were not allowed to sell. And I went and got the market research, did the interviews, had people say, oh, that's a great idea. Oh, totally. I would totally buy that. So that I had that market research so I could go in and present my idea and get approved for the program or whatever. Then we're supposed to go back and actually sell the thing. And then I went back and they're like, oh, well, you just seem like a nice girl. So not right now. I'm not really interested in it, but I really wanted to support you. I really wanted to be helpful. So our approach to market research is to get paid for the market research, which goes back to this experimentation thing that we talked about, is about basically having a conversation with somebody around an assessment. So you're giving them some value for their time. So you're doing an assessment to help them figure out their problem, or you're helping them create a plan. So you're giving them something valuable in that conversation, it's not like, come and help me do this market research. It's more about, I have this thing that will help you. And then you get them on a call and you get all of that juicy market research information due to how you structure the call in terms of an assessment or in terms of helping them make a plan. And then as part of that, you can offer to work with them, offer a service, and see if they will actually buy it, to see if they're interested in buying it. Because the absolute best market research is when you go through, they tell you what's going on. You say, hey, I can help you with that. Would you be interested in hearing how I could help you with that? And then they say, yeah, sign me up. I'll give you my money. That's brilliant market research, because you got the information about what was going on for them, what the problems were, but you also got the confirmation that yes, they would pay for a solution without asking them hypothetically.
Exactly. And I think if we look at people in general, right, we're always kind of looking, our people are looking at, well, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
And I think often, because we've seen a lot of this type of market research where, hey, I just want you to do an interview with me. I promise there's no sales thing at the end of it. And then we go back to them and try to sell them something. So we're not actually in alignment either. And so I think people are also a little bit wary when they see those kinds of questions, because they're afraid they're going to be sold to. And even if that's not your intention, sadly enough, a lot of people have done that. So just we're like, I'm not sure. So that trust factor, like if we think of Kevin Kneble and his no, like, and trust, that trust factor is not there because they don't know you well enough. And so that's why with what we do, we're getting the research and we're actually offering something of value to something that they actually want. So they're like, oh, what's in that for me? I actually have that problem. I'd like to have that problem solved. Oh, that could give me some ideas as to where my problem is, and how can I fix that?
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we do the things the way that we do them, and we've seen that it works really well. So that's the other reason. How do you get people to have the conversation? Calling them directly for group coaching. How do I know what to offer in the same conversation? Go ahead.
I was just going to say a really great way to approach a market research thing is to think about, okay, who do you know that would be an ideal client for the thing that you're selling? It's like, who do I know personally who I think would really benefit from this particular thing, and approach those people individually. And whether you're going to text them or email them or call them or whatever your preferred mode of communication is. And I'm a big fan of being straight up with people. A lot of times what we're looking for here when we ask questions is like, how do I get people to do this thing without really letting them know what I'm doing? How do I be sneaky about it? People want to know, how do I sell people stuff without actually asking them to buy something? How do I pretend to do this one thing while I'm really doing this other? But just to say, you know what, I'm developing a new program that helps people solve this thing. And I immediately thought of you as being somebody that would be an ideal client for this. And I'm wondering if you'd be willing to take a few minutes, have a conversation with me so that I can ask you some questions and see if this would, run this idea past you to see if this would actually be something that you would be really interested in. That would be kind of my approach, is just how do you do this stuff in an honest way, and how do you provide value to that person? Like, how do you make that an exchange?
I'll give you an example right now. So with the questions that you're asking us right now, I would like to offer you, we have this great assessment that we offer people that's completely free, that will show you where the holes are in what you're trying to do to get your course launched, talk to people, bring people in. We will assess all these different areas and see where the holes are in your current system and how you can plug them. That assessment is totally free with us. We'll go through it. You will know at the end of it, this is the spot I need to work on. This is where it's not working. Got it. I can see where the kind of the hole in my pipe is. And then if you choose and you like it, we'll let you know how you can work with us and how we can help you solve that problem with you. Or you have all the information you need to go plug your hole. So if you want to, we're super open to saying, to running the assessment with you. And then you can get a complete example of what we do. and what that looks like. And you'll know how to answer some of those questions that you have in there, like how do I get people to have the conversation? Do I call them directly? What do I say? What do I know if it's for group coaching or individual? Those kinds of things. We go through that stuff in the assessment so you can see, right? Is it my leads? Is it my conversation I'm having? Is it actually in my sales plan? Is it my follow-up? Am I not tracking things? Like, what are the pieces of that? So yeah, that's what that looks like. You have a problem. We have an assessment that will give you some answers to. So the link for the assessment it's actually done live with us. So if you want to send us a message, we'll send you a link to our calendar. You can book a time on the calendar and we will go through it with you, because that way we can talk to you, right? It's not a static kind of thing. And we're happy to help you out and get you set on the right direction to get the answers that you need. Because that's how we can, oh yeah, I can post a link to the calendar. Sure. Absolutely. No problem. No problem. I'll do it right
Want me to do that?
Yeah, you do that right now.
Okay.
FYI, I'm not the systems person. It might look like it because I'm like Facebook Live and hitting these buttons, but the reality is I'm not the systems person. Yeah. So what do we got here? Best Venn diagram exercise I've ever done since becoming an entrepreneur. Awesome. Awesome. Patty's Venn diagram completely changed how I see my business. Incredibly valuable. I agree. Patty's diagrams are amazing.
Diagrams are awesome.
Yeah. Can you type that in the Q&A box too?
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it goes both places, so just in case. I'm the bossy one. In case you didn't know. Any other questions? I see it's 10:30. We do have a client after.
Yes, we have
this.
We have a role play call.
We have a role play call today. Exactly. Absolutely. That's what's happening. So,
yeah, I was just going to say, and if you've enjoyed this week and you want to tune in next week, we'll be back on Monday, yep. Same bat time, same bat channel, and I'd love to see you there if you're like some more cool and groovy stuff.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, or anything like that, type them in on our Facebook page. Like if there's topics you want us to cover, things you're not sure about,
yep.
Type away.
Yep, totally open to tackling whatever you'd like us to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, give us some ideas if you've got some topics, and we will see you next week.
See you next week. Have a great weekend.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.